Morning, everyone. I think we're at 8:30, and so we're ready to roll. The Redevelopment Agency meeting of September 5th, 2018 is called to order. This meeting has been properly noticed, posted in compliance with the open meeting law. These proceedings are being video recorded as well as presented live on KCLV Cable Channel 2. Our closed caption for hearing impaired viewers. Please note customers of CenturyLink, Cox Communications may view this program in high definition on channel 1002. You may also watch the meeting on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, that's a new one, on Go Vegas app. The City Council meeting, as well as all other KCLV programming, may be viewed on the internet at www.kclv.tv/live. The proceedings will be rebroadcast on KCLV and the web the Wednesday of the meeting at 8 p.m., Friday at 4 a.m., Saturday 7 p.m., Sunday at 7 a.m., and the following Monday at 5 p.m. This building is protected by state-of-the-art fire detection and suppression sprinkler systems. If alarms should activate during today's meeting, please evacuate using the exits at the back of the chambers going out to the mezzanine. Proceed out the double doors to the terrace, get down the back staircase. For anyone who has difficulty with stairs, please check with the marshal or a fire official for assistance. Once outside, assemble on the northeast corner across the street from City Hall at Lewiston First. Employees wearing safety vests or city marshals will inform you when it's safe to re-enter the building. For public comment related to items on the agenda, citizen participation, and public hearing items, we have available a speaker card which you may complete and submit to the city clerk up front. Cards are available online in the clerk's office or at the rear of these chambers. If you do not submit a card, it does not prevent you from speaking under public comment, citizen participation, or specified public hearing items. If anyone's present today who has need for hearing impaired equipment, please come forward to the city clerk's staff. And if you parked in the parking garage across the street, please be sure to have your ticket validated by security officers when exiting. We'll move on to agenda item 3. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. The amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited. All comments made will be cross-referenced to those specific items. If anyone submitted a speaker card or wishes to speak under this portion of the agenda, please come to the microphone and state your name for the record. We'll set the time at 1 minute. Good morning. I don't have. Do you have a pad?
Is it on?
Good morning. I think you're on.
Okay. Good morning, Your Honor. How are you doing? Point of clarification. At this particular public...
Could you say your name, please,
Stanley Washington, Las Vegas.
Yes.
At this particular session here is the public comment. When the item comes up, there will be a public hearing comment at that point in time.
It depends on which item. If it will say in your agenda.
The World Market Center.
On which one?
World Market Center.
World Market Center. What is that? What we're addressing right now, Mr. Arndt? Yes.
So
do you want to hear comments beforehand or now?
No, your first item is the medical. I'm just asking when that time comes, we will be able to go ahead and speak to that item as well as this public comment session. That's my question.
Well, don't take both. Do one or the other. So if you want to make your comments now, it would be appropriate. As we go back to it in the regular council meeting, there'll be another opportunity.
Oh, that's what I was asking. So there will be another opportunity. So 1 minute here. Okay, all right. So basically, just in short, just a little bit of history on the World Market Center. That's why I'm here today. That's on the item. That's a Ward 5 item that I've been intimately involved with ever since 2004 when developers Jack Kashani and Sean Sampson brought the idea to your husband back at the day.
And I'm going to ask you, I know as tall as you are, if you could lead. Our microphones, for some reason, are for smaller people.
Okay.
Well, how will it do it?
Can you hear me now better?
Yes.
Okay, real good, real good. I'll do that. I'll start again. I don't know if my time continues to run. Do I get my minute start over again? Anyway.
Yes, your name again, please.
Okay, great, thank you. Just a little bit of history on the World Market Center. I've arrived here in 1993, so October makes 25 years for me, so I pretty much has been intimately involved. Jan Jones was sitting in that seat when I arrived. So most of the things that have taken place in the city since that time, even this building here that we're in today, I've been intimately involved in making sure the public is informed and engaged. In 2004, that was the case at World Market Center, and it will be the case in 2018. Okay? So Brad Jerbick was present there. He certainly knows the history as well. There's this item called the employment plan that was put in play by the legislature back in 1992-93. Legislator Wendell Williams and Morris Arbery put it together there, and it was the basis for the formation of the employment plan policy in connection with the redevelopment law. So as that basically came into play, it was written in 93, but redevelopment really didn't start taking place until years and years later, so a lot of people didn't know that this law was on the books. So when the World Market Center came around and we got to engage on it there, no one knew about this particular law except Wendell Williams, who passed it along to me, and I came and brought it to the council with Mayor Goodman and Brad Jerbick and Councilman Weekly sitting over there, and everybody like, whoa, where did this come from? Well, no, it's NRS statutes, the law. So Brad Jerbick informed the council we had to stop because we had to follow our own law and policy, and at that point in time, we rewrote the employment plan policy.
And we have been abiding by it. Scott Adams, our city manager, has made sure that we abide by that and, in fact, do better.
Okay, well, anyway, I'll stop right there, but when I come back, that's where the engagement's going to go ahead and be, because employment plan is a very significant item that corresponds with the $30 million of city investment we have in the project.
Without
We're true
question.
partners. That's the ROI on the other side, the community's
Thank you.
ROI. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
All righty.
Anyone else wishing to speak under this portion of the agenda? Oh, we have another lady that I know so well. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Catherine Duncan with the Ward 5 Chamber of Commerce. I wanted to address two items on the Redevelopment Agency agenda. One of them, again, is the employment plan policy. We believe that the Redevelopment Agency was created specifically to address the vulnerable populations in our community. That's women, veterans, and minorities. And part of how we're going to address those vulnerable populations was through the employment plan policy. So we fully expected that 51% of any job be people from that vulnerable group. So we changed that law from a 51% goal to a 15% requirement, and I would challenge Mr. Adams to show us where we have 15% hired from those vulnerable populations. He's demonstrated in the construction industry, but he's not demonstrated those numbers in the final jobs and all the other jobs that go with the projects that have been built. So that's on the employment plan policy. But my major concern is for the $40 million that we plan to spend on this courthouse out of these same redevelopment funds. And we have trouble trying to figure out how a $40 million investment into a courthouse is going to address the vulnerable population that the funds were intended for in the first place.
Thank you,
All right.
Ms. Dunn.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we will move on to agenda item 4. Possible action to approve the final minutes by reference to the regular redevelopment agency meeting of July 18th, 2018. Mayor Pro Tem, may I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve the minutes.
Thank you very much. There's a motion. Please vote and please post. Motion carries. Agenda item 5, discussion for possible action regarding the creation of a medical district targeted industry program, MD-TIP, initially funded at $300,000 to provide financial assistance to attract specific targeted industries to the medical district and approve the agreement template for future applicants, RDA Special Revenue Fund, Redevelopment Area 1 and 2, and Wards 1 and 5, Tarkanian and Creer. This is very exciting. I'm not supposed to say I'm thrilled, but I'm thrilled.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. For the record, Shawnee Coleman, Redevelopment Manager, Economic and Urban Development. If you'll indulge me for just one moment before we start, I'd like to introduce Alexander Lynn. Alex is a second-year UNLV School of Medicine student. He is participating in their community service program, and he wanted to work on the development and redevelopment of the Las Vegas Medical District. So this is his second year with us. We also have a second student who's a first-year student. He couldn't be here today because he had class, but I wanted to provide Alex an opportunity to understand and see how we're developing the Las Vegas Medical District with this incentive, and he's working on some other things for us as well. So.
Wonderful. Would you step to the microphone, tell us your name yourself, and where did you do your undergraduate work?
My name is Alexander Lin. I did my undergrad at UNLV here at home.
And a majoring in?
I majored in pre-professional biology.
Wonderful. Very exciting. And how are you finding, so you're in the first inaugural class of the
Yes.
University of Nevada, Las Vegas Medical School.
Yes.
Are you absolutely brilliant?
I hope so.
Are you
Yes.
ready to take us on? We're thrilled, are we not, Mayor Pro Tem? You're
Thank you.
Thank you. So what we have before you today is an incentive specifically for the medical district. One of the things that as we develop the medical district, we look at what's important to not just the district itself, district users, what's important to neighborhoods. And so we engaged applied analysis to help us understand what was going on in the district as it currently sits. They did an industrial study and helped us to identify targeted industries or targeted businesses that support and create a great Las Vegas medical district. So the objective that we have here is to provide incentives for those types of businesses to open and operate in the Las Vegas medical district, or existing businesses that fit that category, the opportunity to expand. So
If
some
I
of the
might interrupt you there,
Yes,
as
ma'am.
we're targeting them, are we offering them incentives?
Yes, that's what this is.
Okay.
What we're asking for your approval today are incentives that would provide interior and exterior improvements to the business and allow them to open and operate within the medical district. So the targeted businesses, again, this is not just for medical-related entities. This is not just for employees of the district, but there are a number of rich neighborhoods around the medical district, so we want to make sure that we support those. So you'll see a number of things in there like grocery stores. A non-gaming hotel is something that's important that we heard from. Fitness and recreation, so that could be anything from a gym. One of the biggest things that we heard from our advisory council is they'd like to see more sit-down restaurants and not just fast food. So you'll see full service and limited service restaurants at the top of the list. That's something that's important for the district and for the neighborhoods surrounding the district. So what we established is an incentive that's very similar to incentives that you have approved before. However, this incentive covers interior and exterior, and it's specific for the medical district. It requires a participant to do a 2-to-1 match. So in order to get the full $50,000, they would need to spend at least $100,000. In order to get the 25, they would need to spend at least 25. And the difference here, you'll see the core area and the secondary area. Is the map. The core area is the area in green. That's where UNLV School of Medicine is currently operating, UMC, Valley Hospital. That's where we believe there is the greatest potential for development, and so that's why there's a higher opportunity for incentive in that area. But we did not want to leave out the secondary areas, the areas that already have some medical or have the potential for medical, and those are the areas in blue. One part of the medical district that you don't see on this map is Symphony Park, and the reason why we did not include that is because Symphony Park, as a city master plan community, there's other opportunities for investment and incentives in that area.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say, I brought this up in briefing some time ago, maybe to you, about the opportunity lost if we don't include it, and I'm speaking of the Ruvo, the Cleveland, and their future expansions. If we lose the opportunity to include it in the future, we lose the bragging rights, and I speak openly about how people are encouraged by excellent places within a particular district. It's not just the Las Vegas Medical District, or whatever we want to call it, including the Cleveland Clinic, including the Lou Ruvo Center for Brain Health. We can't brag about that if we don't put it in the medical district, and I frankly don't see why we don't carve it out of the Symphony Park.
It is in
Where
the
they
medical
plan on,
district, isn't
where
it?
they plan on, no, it's not. Particularly putting it, at least putting a fence around it and say, this really is part of our medical center. You know, and there's access too.
Yes.
Pretty good access. So I'm
Mayor?
thinking we really need to put it in there.
Mayor, through you, Symphony Park is part of the medical district. We just didn't include it in this incentive program,
The whole place?
the whole place. So Cleveland Clinic
Oh, that's the
is,
first time I've heard that.
so
Thank you.
Cleveland Clinic is a partner with the city as far as the Las Vegas Medical District. Symphony Park is part of the medical district. Symphony Park, however, has its own master plan and its own incentives. And so for that piece of it, for the incentives and the master planning of it, we just pulled Symphony Park out so it could continue as it is. We didn't want to change anything that was already set in place by council for Symphony Park.
Well, you can always do that if you want to. I mean,
Yes.
tell us that maybe there's an opportunity to change something we did before. Don't be shy about that.
Yes.
Because, you know, I mean, let's face it,
Thank
it's
you.
not
I
really
think
part
we
of it.
understand. This is specific
But it's
to
gotta be part of
those incentive pieces for the
Correct.
medical district only.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Well, this is the incentive. I just was going to say, you might want to look at the whole medical plan, though, because it includes some of Councilman Creer's district, too,
We'll
as
see
well
that.
as Symphony Park. I
Yeah,
mean,
north
that
of Alta.
medical district is large for expansion.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me if I might, both of you, what we're dealing with today is this incentive program only, which is that green area.
It's the
Thank you very
green and
much.
the blue. Just for
okay.
clarification, it
Okay.
covers the green and the blue. They're just different incentive levels for both of those.
All right. Good.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, please.
I just wanted, just to get clarification, I think I saw this, but you cannot combine this grant with any other, like a VIP grant as well, correct?
Mayor, through you, yes, you can combine this.
So someone could have a grant of $50,000 for rehabilitation of their building, and they can also qualify for the VIP grant for $25,000?
That is correct. So
There's
someone
a
in,
cap of $95,000 on one project that the city would support?
that is correct. So this particular incentive is designed to be utilized with other incentives that we have, for instance, the OTIP. So specifically, we left medical office out of the targeted industries because we felt as the medical district, they would be able, they would come anyway. But a medical office provider, 7,000 square feet, looking to do improvements to their property, could apply for OTIP, and then they could also apply specifically for a medical district incentive.
It is for, it's not for new construction, correct?
It is not for new construction, it's improvement of existing structures.
Mayor,
Thank you.
Councilman
I
Coffin?
recalled
Go
one
ahead.
other item, and that was that, from our briefing, I recall now, that I was worried that we would have people who have well-heeled applicants, and they're extremely well-heeled, you know, corporations, chains, things like that, that really don't need our incentives. So do we have the ability, and I don't know whether the council wants to weigh in, but do we have the ability to differentiate between needs, between what we think is needed? You've got somebody that owns a single
Right.
plot, going to do something or is doing something, but he's not the billionaire corporation that's right next door. How do we make that person qualify so the big boys don't get all the money? Because they'll have all the lobbyists.
Right. So like most of our incentives, there's an application process. We prepare the application, but all incentives are approved by the city council. So we would bring any application to this board for approval. So if you had some concerns one way or the other, you could address those specifically with that at the time that the application is brought forward to city council or to
Madam
the
Mayor?
redevelopment agency.
Madam Mayor, if I can add to
Yes.
that, as
Yes,
part of the NRS requirements on redevelopment, Councilman, there have to be some findings made by the city council. One, that this particular applicant, whatever the grant that will be given, will be a benefit to the redevelopment area. And secondly, there has to be, the applicant has to demonstrate there are no reasonable means of financing. So through that process, no reasonable means of financing. So they are showing a need that they cannot do this project but for
Right.
this type of
Thank you
program.
very much for that.
And Ms. Ponticello, is there also on the application a request for information of other investments in Nevada?
Typically, they do not do that on the application, but staff does do some underwriting of looking at the applicant and to see how well, if they're creditworthy, and that they can follow through with the project.
Okay, because I would think that's a possible area that you could learn that they have heavy investments somewhere in the county, but taking advantage of these incentives we're offering, and whether that's a quid pro quo that works out and makes sense because we want to redevelop. So
Yes.
thank you, Ms. Monticello. Okay, please go ahead.
And with
Oh,
that,
excuse me, Mayor Pro Tem, turn on your mic. Your mic.
Excuse me, thank you. I wanted to ask, as far as the larger chunk of the medical district, not the southern portion, but is there room there for restaurants or anything? You know, where Valley Hospital is and UMC is and all that land's probably going to be needed for the medical facilities of the school and things like that. So basically, we're talking about what's on the other side of Charleston.
Mayor, through you, we're actually talking about all of it because we see the medical district as a dense urban area, which means there's going to be mixed uses. And so even if Valley Hospital or UMC or whoever it is decides to build a new facility, we would hope that they would include some of the amenities that we're targeting, that it could include a restaurant, that it could include a gym. So we really believe that the medical district is going to be a hub of mixed-use environments, and this incentive can support that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, please continue.
With that, I just ask for approval of the medical district incentive.
And then Mayor Pro Tem, since it's in your district, if you turn your mic on, how about making a motion?
Electricity there. I move to approve the item.
Thank you. There's a motion to approve agenda item 5. Please vote and please post. And Dr. Lynn, 2 more years before it's a doctor. Your folks must be very proud. Please vote and please post. Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, agenda item 6. RA 21-2018, discussion for possible action regarding a resolution consenting to the owner participation agreement between the RDA and WMCV Phase 3 SPE LLC on the development of an exposition, trade show, event, and convention center project located at 475 South Grand Central Parkway, utilizing the tax increment financing incentive in the amount of $30 million, RDA Special Revenue Fund, RDA, Redevelopment Area 1, Ward 5, Councilman Creer. Note this item is related to Council Item 60, R48-2018. Wow. Wow. Yes, Mr. Arndt, good morning.
Good morning, Mayor Goodman, members of City Council and Redevelopment Agency Board. For the record, I'm Bill Arntz, Director, Economic and Urban Development. Joining me today for this item are Jonathan Lelu, as well as Mr. Kim Rick, who are here on behalf of the project sponsor and owner. I'm really excited and delighted to present this project because it's the culmination of a lot of work with our city team. I want to thank Brenda Hughes and Nick Niarchos from the city team, and also thank Kim, John, and Bob Marisich, the CEO of World Market Center, who unfortunately couldn't be here today. This project is exciting because it really continues all of our downtown redevelopment, and with this investment in this project, it really plants the seed for a lot of additional buildings to be built in downtown in the hospitality industry. And that's one of the reasons why we're so excited about the project. We came before you on April 4th of this year to present a term sheet outlining the terms for the project, which essentially were the business terms for the transaction between the Redevelopment Agency and World Market Center. And I'm happy to report that those terms have not changed. Our participation is the same. The project is essentially the same, and our owner wants to move forward. This is really a critical project. Downtown Las Vegas is underserved for convention and meeting space, and this is such an important industry for our community to attract new business and industry. And for our downtown hotel base, weekday occupancy really is lacking because, and due in part, to not having our business visitors come to a full-service convention center. And so one of the great things about this project is it not only meets the needs of World Market Center to help with their core business, but it actually provides space for, providing space for year-round visitation. This is a rendering of the project. The project calls for a minimum in our contract, a minimum of 300,000 square feet of space on a gross level. They are actually moving through the entitlement process for a project of approximately 315,000 square feet, which is over the minimum square footage. And so you can see there in the foreground the future expo space, which is going to be developed in conjunction with the existing buildings, and it's going to be integrated into one campus, so it'll really feel like one campus and complement what's already built at World Market Center. Again, I think if there's an important slide in this presentation, this may be the most important. The goal for the project, of course, is to have it used year-round as often as possible. This is from a report done by Applied Analysis and Jeremy Aguero back in April, and it shows that with the utilization, if it's used over 70% of the year, with not just the days that exhibitors are there, but with move-in and move-out days, it has the potential to be occupied 260 days per year. That's people coming in predominantly from out of town, spending money in our downtown, and has a huge economic impact as well as a fiscal impact on the city and our downtown. The project funding model is essentially the same with one change. We are in a very active market with construction, and so the construction cost has gone up for the project. Our partner has and is willing to provide more funding out of its own resources. So you see there our participation through the tax increment financing notes, which are from the Redevelopment Agency, has a face value of $30 million. So that stayed the same from April. The project has gone up, which when you include the land that's being provided by World Market Center, over $100 million project with the construction cost fully baked, including the design, estimated at $89 million. So how the financing works, this is a great deal for the city and for its redevelopment agency, because it really presents a zero-risk model for the redevelopment agency. And let me explain. We're not providing any funding upfront for the design. We're not providing any funding upfront for the construction. We're not providing any funding long-term for the operations. Our mechanism for funding is through the taxes paid directly from the property. So we're taking the taxes that come into the redevelopment agency from the property, both the new building, the new expo center, as well as the existing buildings, and we're rebating that back to the developer in the form of a promissory note until $30 million on a net present value basis is repaid to World Market Center. So we are taking those future taxes to reinvest in the property, but it really presents a zero-risk model. So in other words, if they do not move forward with the project, we're not out one penny. And that's really important to note. And so there's payment protection for the agency. Again, the downside is if the taxes come in at a lower amount, then we're capped at the amount that we actually take in directly to the redevelopment agency for new projects, that 82% rate. So our funding for education and set aside and our housing set aside continues. And then if the taxes are higher than our projection, we'll actually repay that note faster and be done faster. So either way, we're capped at that $30 million. This is a huge impact for downtown. This was numbers from the Applied Analysis study that I mentioned earlier. And I want to just hit one note here, that $97 million in spending, if you think about that in gross terms, that $97 million in spending through the sales tax, if we're taking in that amount of money and it's all hitting sales tax, that's $4 million a year in new sales tax that would not have otherwise occurred. So the payback on our $30 million is going to happen fairly quickly through all the visitor spending that's going to happen in downtown. So what are the benefits? We're getting a new convention center. It's going to be used year-round. We are only putting in, when you factor in the land cost and our money and the money that our partner is putting in, less than a third of the project cost, 28%. It helps one of our biggest businesses in the city and our largest taxpayer continue to grow. It puts construction workers to work at state prevailing wage rate. And it does require through the contract, through our own redevelopment agency employment plan policy, as well as state law, our partner to follow local hiring and diversity practices. And I want to just read just a couple sentences from our contracts so both you and our listening audience can understand how this is going to happen. Our partner is going to advertise in newspapers to focus on minority-owned, women-owned, disabled, veteran-owned enterprises to participate in the construction. They're going to use the city's diverse business directory, and that's done in coordination through city purchasing as well as the Nevada NGEM process. So that's online enrollment through contractors, and our city purchasing team is glad to help anyone make sure they can get enrolled in that. And then on top of that, our partner has agreed, and reading directly from the contract here, IMC will ensure its construction manager coordinates this job fair through the office of the council person for Ward 5. This job fair will be provided at no cost to job applicants and will provide a forum for applying and interviewing for positions at the project. We are requiring the employment plan for the construction phase of the project because it is a big project and there's going to be a lot of construction activity. And we're going to take lessons learned from past projects like this building on how to make sure we get as wide participation as we can from interested contractors. So what you're approving today, you're approving this owner participation agreement, which is the contract controlling the financing vehicle for the tax increment financing. It oversees the prevailing wage rate requirement for construction, as well as the employment plan. And then with that, I'd like to turn it over to our partner. They're ready to get going. They have an aggressive timetable to be starting construction in early 2019 and be finished by mid-year 2020. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Lelu and Mr. Rick, and they can tell you a little bit more about the project and the plans for the project.
Thank you, Mr. Arndt. Good morning, gentlemen. This is a wonderful day for us.
Thank you. I'm Kim Rick from World Market Center. I want to thank you for giving your attention to this project. We are well along in the design of the project. We're with planning staff right now and anticipate going to Planning Commission on the 11th. We have sent an RFP out to 5 contractors. We've had a vetting session with them last week. We expect to narrow that down to 2 or 3 and then go to bid. So we should commence construction first part of February next year, and that's where we stand.
If I might add, because I'm sure we're going to have questions, but the number of construction jobs that you're anticipating, that you're providing?
Well, I think we anticipate that there will be several hundred, I think in the nature of 400. I think that was shown on the last slide.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor, members of the council. John Lelu, 300 South 4th Street. I have to echo, Your Honor, your excitement here. I think it was in 2010, you and I first sat down and talked about this, and you said, John, why is that place closed for 50 weeks a year, and how do you guys do it? And we had a long conversation then. We've had many long conversations since, some with cocktails, some without cocktails, far too few with the cocktails. But the bottom line is this, is we have been working on this for a very long time. We are very excited to bring this to the downtown area, downtown's very first and only convention center, and we're really excited to bring this online and see what other development this will spur around it. We've had, like I said, we've had many conversations about this, and it's occupied a lot of time over the last 8 years. And I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself now that I don't have this to talk about. Well, but thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lelu. This is exciting. Is Carrie Kramer here with you too?
She is.
Thank you for all your efforts. Really, this has been an 8-year pursuit. A question before I open it up to council. The use of the facility, will that be entirely controlled by IMC or what?
Yes, Your Honor, we will control the use of it. We've hired a former employee of the Sands Expo Center to head up our team, and she is working with a variety of users. Obviously, twice a year during our markets, it'll be occupied by our tenants. The rest of the year will be occupied by show organizers and others. We have a lot of interest for both conventions and corporate events at this point.
And as the owner and operator, will you then just be going out into the country to look for trade shows and accessory shows to come, or are you just going to sort of wait for them to come to you?
No, we're doing both. We are marketing through a variety of organizations, and of course, just having this hit the press has generated a lot of interest, so we're fielding quite a few inquiries right now.
And the only thing I would plea, as we're talking about minority hiring and all of that, that locals get a discount from the rest of the country. All right.
Always,
Anybody,
Your Honor.
council, comments, questions?
Pardon me, Mayor?
Yes.
Mayor, for the record, Bill Arndt, Economic and Urban Development. I also want to remind you of something that our partner has agreed to that we talked about back in April. They recognize that community events are important and that there is not a large facility with Cashman closing, and so they have agreed to provide for 9 event days during the year for nonprofit and other community groups for those true community events, not the consumer shows where they're charging a fee, but those true community events. And they've been a great partner in the interim while we've had Cashman close with sponsoring a number of events such as our Science Festival and others. So we're appreciative and grateful to our partner for that.
That's exactly what I was speaking to, and just concerned because we hear all the time, where do we go?
Your Honor, in my excitement, again, John Lelu for the record, I did neglect one very, very important thing, and that was to say thank you.
Hey, John, can you speak into the mic?
Excuse me, sorry. I did neglect one very, very important thing, and that was to say thank you. Thank you for all the conversations. Thank you to Scott Adams for all of the conversation and working so hard on this. Thank you to staff, Bill Arndt in particular, Jason. They were fantastic throughout this process. And believe me, this has not been an easy process. And over the last several months, as this got more real, things ramped up. We were spending a lot of time burning the candle at both ends trying to get this done. And again, I have to say thank you to yourself and your wonderful staff. They really brought it home. Finally, thank you to Councilman Creer for your patience. I know that since April, we've worked very hard to try and get this project to where it needed to be, and I hope we've made you proud there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lelu. I mean, it is really, you can just feel the excitement and the energy down here and what this is going to be spurring. I know so many investors that are just waiting for this moment. So how lucky for Councilman Creer to have been elected to serve Ward 5.
Yes.
Aside from all the wonderful attributes that you have inherited this exciting project. So I see your mic's on. You're wearing your pin. Good.
Yeah. No doubt. Thank you, guys, and thank you, Mr. Arndt, Mr. Ricks, and Mr. Lelu for coming out from working in a short period of time with me in my office and trying to make sure this project gets moving forward. Many might not know that there might have been some discussion that if this project was going to move forward or not, and I'm glad it is. And plus, we have a number of other ancillary businesses that are looking to come into Ward 5. Down in Symphony Park, we've got a hotel, maybe potentially 2 hotels across the street with Jackson Shaw. We've got 2 apartment complexes coming, big apartment complexes coming down into Symphony Park as well, and then some other development in downtown in the hotel corridor that was contingent upon if this project was going to go through, and the scope of the projects were going to be scaled back potentially, if not moved forward at the time, based off of what was going on with the World Market project. So it's great to see that, and it's good to note that it's going to spur other opportunities as well. From the first moment that I took office, this is on the first day that I took office on April 18th, this was on the agenda, and we discussed a couple of things. One is the ROI to the residents of Ward 5. As we move forward with this 82% reinvestment of the TIF of $30 million, my question has always been, how do we provide an RI to the citizens of Ward 5? Because in essence, we have a lot of projects where potentially those dollars could go back and reinvested back into our community to build a lot of things. And one of those obviously is jobs. As I mentioned, 15% unemployment in Ward 5 versus 5% unemployment throughout the rest of the city puts us at a very disadvantaged spot in terms of trying to provide opportunities in jobs. So we need to help you provide quality and ready vendors to participate in the construction side of the business, and we're going to work together diligently with the community, with Urban Chamber of Commerce and others to try to make sure that we have some of those subcontractors that are available to take advantage of those jobs. I know that the permanent jobs that you're going to offer are not very many. In convention business, some of those jobs, a lot of those jobs are on call, and they bring in banquet staff or facilities to come in and take care of those as needed. They don't carry a lot of full-time staff as like the other hotels do and the other convention centers do. But we're going to work with you to help you provide, if it's 20 jobs or 15 jobs or 10 jobs, we're going to work with you to try to ensure that we get people from our community that have an opportunity to work. It's important that as we're bringing in jobs into our ward, our community, that we have those qualified people and working. And so we are creating what we're calling it Ward 5 Works, and where we're creating a strategy that's going out to provide businesses like yourselves and other businesses qualified individuals to come in and work. We have to do that. We have to make sure that people within Ward 5 have opportunities to work, that they don't have to drive 30, 45 minutes outside of the ward just to go to work. We need to create a great work-life environment within Ward 5. I'm happy to see and understand that one of the contractors that are bidding for this job is a minority-owned company in Thor Construction. I know they've done a lot of projects and throughout the city, so I think it's great that they're in the running for this. And, you know, I just look forward to working with you guys. Just keep in mind, jobs, 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 opportunities, opportunities, opportunities for the citizens of Ward 5 and throughout the city. I'm just a little selfish for Ward 5. Thanks.
And any other questions, comments? Councilman Soroka.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for this wonderful project you're bringing to our community. It's going to be great for our city, our downtown, and the whole community, so thank you. And I just want to give a shout out to Councilman Creer. I know you're going to have a job fair that includes veterans. I'd love to help you be successful in that area, so appreciate your effort in that endeavor, so thank you.
And Councilman Soroka, you're right. You know, we have about 1,000 homeless vets throughout the city, and we are also working on plans to eradicate that and to provide opportunities for veterans to receive the services that they so vitally need. And one of them, obviously, is to provide them jobs. You know, you heard me say this. You provide a person a job, it changes their life, their family's life, and their community's life. So it's important. One question for Mr. Arndt is that once the $30 million is satisfied, what happens then? Where does the TIF go back to? What is the reinvestment back into Ward 5?
Sure. So, Councilman, again, for the record, Bill Arndt, if I understand the question, so the tax increment financing, we do not pay that $30 million all at once. We pay it over a period of time. Once that's paid back to World Market Center, if that money returns to the redevelopment agency, and then the redevelopment agency expires in 2046. So once that $30 million is repaid, if it's before 2046, all that additional tax increment comes into the agency for other projects in the area, which would include most of Ward 5, or a good part of Ward 5, I should say. The other thing is the TIF from the other projects that we think are spurred by this project, all the hotel casinos that are announced. Some of them are planned, not quite announced yet, as you're aware. Those projects, we're not investing directly into those, but the bulk of that new property tax comes into the agency. That's new money for new projects in the redevelopment area in the ward. So I think that's probably the biggest direct benefit to the redevelopment agency. The new taxes coming in off all those spin-off projects, the hotels that are planned, such as with Derek Stevens, with Downtown Grand, and a couple others that are planned but not quite yet announced that we're excited to announce soon.
So right now, World Market Center pays, I think they get a 42% TIF rebate, correct?
Correct.
I believe that's the case. And so with the convention center, though, it's at 81% now, or 82% now. Once the $30 million is satisfied, does that go back to a 0% TIF reinvestment or 42%, or what's?
I understand the question now.
Yeah.
Again, for the record, Bill Arntz, the 82 goes to zero. So
Zero,
once the
okay.
30 million is repaid, we're done, and we've satisfied our obligation, and so that's the only investment. So any taxes past that point would come back to the redevelopment.
And if I might, Councilman Creer, you'll be at least 96 years old. I'm not quite
Great.
sure how old you are, because I'm not allowed to ask. I gave you 28 years.
I'm almost 50. Thank you.
Oh, I wasn't far off. So with
Yeah.
that, would you like to make the motion?
Thank you.
96 when it's paid off. I think others of us will be looking down from above.
Will be agenda item 6, RA 212018. I move for approval.
Thank you very much. There's a motion to approve. Please vote and please post, and hooray. Golly, this is so beautiful to come out of that recession and have this. Thank everyone, please. Thank you both very much. Carrie, thanks. Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Arndt. And city team, you're the best. Okay, we'll move on to agenda item 7, and that is citizen participation. Correct? Is that where we are? Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the redevelopment agency. No subject may be acted upon by the redevelopment agency unless that subject's on the agenda and scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, please come to the podium, give your name for the record. The amount of discussion, any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speakers allowed may be limited. Anyone who wishes to speak under this portion of the agenda.
Stanley Washington, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Washington, there it is, it's on. Okay, thank you.
Thank
If
you.
you'll speak right into it. I'm sorry, we need extensions on our mic, Mr. Riggleman.
I apologize for my slowness, but I could have sworn I heard that we were going to have an opportunity to speak on this section at this agenda item.
Well, it will be, again, during the council meeting. Number 60, when we get to that on our council
So why not
agenda.
doing redevelopment, when this is a redevelopment item, why not doing redevelopment?
Well, you could, but it's going to be heard by the council at that point, and you've already spoken to it at this time, as did Ms. Duncan, and so I think the best time will be when we get to it in the full agenda.
The vote has already occurred for this item, all right?
The vote to move it from the redevelopment agency to the council
So
has
it's the
been
final
taking
council
place.
vote. So if it's decided that some information comes to you that causes for something to have to be debated, then at that time, the council has an opportunity to address it.
Yes.
Because right now, this part's closed out.
Not
correct?
this part right now. Thank
thank
you.
you very much.
Anyone else wishing to speak to the council? Okay, we are going to adjourn the redevelopment agency meeting, and we've got to wait for the transfer of technology. So we're going to give ourselves, it's 20 after 5 minutes or so. Thank you. And we are adjourned.